As one of the larger MMO channels on YouTube, I feel like I should probably do my best to keep you guys up to date with all the upcoming MMO announcements, and today I want to talk about a new Western MMORPG that's recently made its way onto Kickstarter called Oath. Now I know what you're thinking, not another fucking Kickstarter MMO that won't be playable for 5 years, right? Well, that was my thought initially as well, until I watched the Kickstarter video for this game and saw that the devs are actually taking a different approach to development. Instead of designing things such as the world, quests, bosses, dungeons, raids, outfits, and other things that aren't core to gameplay, it seems like Ready Up Studios are instead focusing on making a kick-ass combat and class system, and will then branch out from there when they're happy with what they've got and build a full MMORPG. This explains why the graphics and UI look the way they do in the trailer. All this stuff is temporary and intended to be improved upon when they get funding. From what I can tell in the Kickstarter trailer, they also seem to have a basic guild building, war declaration, and resource gathering systems implemented already too. The way I heard about this game was actually through one of the devs who I used to be in a guild with in Black Desert a few years back, so it wouldn't surprise me if they take a bit of inspiration from BDO's combat. With that said, I'll play the Kickstarter trailer for the game now, as I think it does a pretty good job in explaining exactly what it is.
Hey guys, welcome to the Oath Kickstarter, a new action combat sandbox MMO from Ready Up Studios. I'm one of the developers working on Oath, and you may know me as Ethan from our Discord server. We decided to do things a bit different than other MMO Kickstarters. We see a lot of companies making Kickstarters with little or no gameplay systems actually developed, just some ideas or some cool concept art, or they have people working there who are really known in the industry. But since we are a new studio, we wanted to do things a bit different, so we decided to invest in making the core gameplay systems first, and then a Kickstarter so we have something to show off. So during this video, we are going to show some of the core features that we've been working on. One thing I want to mention before we get started is since we have a lot of the core gameplay systems developed already, we don't need funding to pay our team to develop them, which is where a lot of the other Kickstarter funding goes. We are only asking for funding to get content made, things such as our character models updated, new enemies, animations, sound effects, etc. We set our goal to the bare minimum we think that we need to get to open beta. Any extra funding after our goal will be used to further develop Oath and add even more features and content. Something to keep in mind while watching the video is because we are asking for funding in order to get our assets and content created, almost everything you see in the video is a placeholder that we use for development. If we reach our goal, everything from character models to sound effects and animations will get a huge update. Let's take a look at some of the features that we've been working on. The first thing I want to talk about is combat. Oath is action-based, so there's no tab targeting like in some other games, but there's still quite a few ways for you to hit your target, so let's go through them. First we have no target, which is basically just shooting or swinging at nothing. However, if the projectile does end up hitting an enemy, they will take damage. This is also the method used for most melee attacks. You don't have a locked target, but if you swing, you'll hit anything in front of you. The next target type is homing, which means if your crosshair is over a target and it's in range, your skill will then home towards that target, and it's used for projectile skill shots. Lock-on has two steps for locking on targets. First, cast a skill once to enable targeting, and during this time, an enemy or ally, depending on the skill, that you hover with your crosshair will be highlighted and selected. Cast the skill again to use that skill on selected targets. Next we have ground targeting for AoE skills. Simply aim your crosshair at the ground and use the skill to cast it at that location. Party skills target all the members of your party in range. My personal favorite type of skills are the beam skills. Beam skills root you in place and you can rotate your character to hit targets in front of you. As of now we have two, Healing Beam for Guardians and Incinerate for Pyromancers. Another important aspect of combat is dodging. Dodging is useful for avoiding enemy attacks so you don't take any damage. You're also immune for the duration of the dodge animation. However, you can only dodge every so often, so make sure you use it wisely. As for crowd control, we currently have Stun, Freeze, Knock Up, and knockback. There are many different gathering skills that allow you to harvest different kinds of materials throughout the world. Some of these include woodcutting, mining, and gathering. As your level increases in these skills, you will start collecting rare materials that can be used to create stronger items. As a player, you will also have access to skills such as fishing, skinning, and hunting, which will allow you to partake in a variety of different activities. As I mentioned earlier, you can create items using materials collected through various different life skills. There are a variety of different crafting skills which allow you to create different types of items. Using the blacksmithing skill, you can create different weapons and armor, and the higher the quality of material used, the higher quality the crafted item will be. The next important feature I want to talk about is our guild system. At a certain level, guilds can buy a plot of land and build their base how they want in their allowed area. Different buildings cost different resources, and in this example, walls cost stone. You can farm stone throughout the world using your life skills, and if a guildie places a building, you could build it for them with your own resources. Guilds have the option to declare war against other guilds. This allows open PvP between the two and allows them to attack each other's bases. Your base walls and buildings can be destroyed and your resources stolen by the enemy guild. Some of the members of your guild should probably defend your base while some others should go attack theirs. While there currently isn't a plan for full-on open world PvP, there are still ways to fight other players. You can request a duel from anyone at any time, and we also have the PvP arena. More information on that can be found below. If you'd like to learn more about these features and read more in-depth information about Oath, we go into much more detail in the text below. I encourage you to read through everything that we have planned, and if you have any questions or would just like to talk, go ahead and join our Discord server. We're always in there and ready to answer your questions. I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you in game soon.
So yeah, that was the trailer for the Oath Kickstarter, and I know visually it may not look as impressive as other MMO projects currently, but what I really appreciate watching this is that you get a clear idea for their vision of combat. I like that they have different types of attacks to spice things up, such as no target swinging in front of you like Guild Wars 2, homing, lock-on, grounds targeting, and beam skills. Having an active dodge and block system will also add to the interactivity of combat, and you could already see during some of the clips that when fighting mobs, the characters were constantly moving and dodging to avoid attacks. Also, as a big fan of Guild vs Guild, the whole build a base, declare war and fight other guilds thing really appeals to me a lot. I decided to shoot a few questions over to one of the Oath devs on a few things I was curious about. What MMORPGs do you take inspiration from with Oath? We take inspiration from Arcade, Black Desert, and Terra. Arcade had some amazing sandbox features, and we've always loved the combat from both Black Desert and Terra. Obviously, you're focusing hard on designing the core systems of the game first, such as combat, but do you have a long-term vision for the game? If so, will it be more PvP or PvE focused, or a mixture of both? Our vision leans more towards a PvE focused game with dungeons, raids, etc, but there's also a variety of different features that give the option to PvP as well. Some of these include an arena system, bounty system, guild PvP, ocean PvP, and even the ability to steal trade packs from players whilst they're travelling through PvP enabled areas. You mentioned in the video that a big reason for your Kickstarter is to raise money for things such as assets and artwork. With this, I guess the visuals we see in your trailer are all placeholder. What type of art style would you like to transition to? Will it be a similar stylized aesthetic similar to your current trailer, or something completely different and more realistic? Yes, all of the visuals shown in the Kickstarter are temporary and were only used for us to develop our current core systems. If we reach our goal, everything will go towards getting assets created that will veer towards a slightly more realistic look. The graphics should be completely different to what we have now. We plan on showing a concept art shortly after our Kickstarter has been funded. How long do you expect it to be before the community can get involved and playtest the combat and give feedback? Only a few months. As we've been focusing on the combat system from the start, it's not something we've put a massive amount of work into currently. The main thing we need to work on now is the character models, animations, and maps. After that's done, we're ready to start our first alpha. Have you put much thought into what business model the game will have upon release, or is this still subject to change depending on future publishing deals? Oath will be free to play. We will have a cash shop, but we'll be staying away from pay to win completely, and will not be selling anything that gives players an advantage advantage over other players. The only thing we plan on selling is cosmetics. So that's it for this short Q&A, but if you guys have any further questions about the game, then obviously feel free to leave it in the comments below, and maybe a dev or backer for the game could give you an answer. Overall, I think it seems like an interesting project, and it's quite refreshing to see the focus on combat first before anything else, because as I've always said, you could have the best MMO out there in terms of features, but if the core gameplay is boring, then what's the point? I hope you enjoyed the video though, and I'll keep you up to date with more upcoming MMO releases. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and all that good stuff linked below. Thanks for watching, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you again really soon.